If you love comics as much as I do, you're going to subscribe to my channel. I review comics for Comic Crusaders. I also have my own franchises, Adolescent Radioactive Samurai Platypi and Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter. They're available on Comics Central, Indie Planet, and Comixology. Check them out. We're going to do our official launch in October 2018. Stay tuned to this broadcast for more information. Also, like the Facebook pages for each franchise for more information. Check out my Patreon site for some neat original artwork and shows that you won't find on YouTube. Hello and welcome to another episode of Comic Book Reviews. I'm your host Kevin Given, and now let's get right into the reviews. My first review, Detective Comics number 990. Writer James Robinson, art Steven Segovia, and it's published by DC Comics. This film opens with the Batman in a knockdown dragout with Two-Face and his goons. The Dark Knight mocks Harvey Dent's petty thugs, and Dent agrees with his assessment. Bruce Wayne is discussing this case with a colleague who knows his secret, and they come to the conclusion that Two-Face must have at least one other lair, since this one was trashed so easy, and it was after they lured the Batman there to begin with. Non-stop action in this exciting issue. The creative team. James Robinson knows his Bat lore and draws us into this issue in an exciting way. He also knows that the true draw of any Two-Face story is the unpredictability of where the coin will land, on the scarred side or the whole side, making us guess at his motivation every time he does something we don't expect. It was intriguing to see him bring Batman to his hiding place, with the obvious intention of finishing him off. Then he turns around and saves an acquaintance of our hero, one which you wouldn't expect him to save. It's a chapter in this tale that begs us to buy the next issue, as the Batman second-guesses the former DA in a way that we would never expect. One thing that keeps the Batman character fresh even after almost 80 years is the title of World's Greatest Detective, and having the right storytellers to help him live up to that name. Great stuff includes Bruce's conversation with Duke as he tries to get his bearings and the fate of Jim Gordon in this tale. Steven Segovia really brings out the animal in Two-Face this issue, and as always, he seems to capture the essence of Bruce's warped psyche, even if it's not on strong display this issue. I have a feeling this is why DC keeps using Segovia on Batman titles. The trick here is not to be obvious about Bruce's psychoses, since, unlike the Joker, he tries to hide it and not let it take over his persona. Segovia's strong attention to detail is also a plus for that gritty noir look I always love. Highlights include the opening fight scene complete with an awesome double-page spread and the final splash bringing us an ominous tone for the next issue. In conclusion, not a lot of exposition in this issue, but a quick read as the action flows and the panels with great art are highlights of this issue. Not to say nothing happens, we get one step closer to finding out Two-Face's motivation, and Batman seems to know what's coming up, even if the reader doesn't. It's a compelling look into the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent, as we all wonder which side the coin will land on once again. 3.5 stars from this comic book reviewer, with an 8.7 rating. And for my next review, Black Hammer, Age of Doom number 6. The writer was Jeff Lemire, the arts from Rich Tommaso, the publisher, of course, Dark Horse. Meet Colonel Randall Weird, a soldier that has lost his relevancy. A mind that's nowhere as near important as he thinks he is. A misfit that's about to discover the reality of meaningless. A less-than-average Joe that will find out just how useful, or useless, he is. In the Purgatory Zone. The creative team, Jeff Lemire, has mastered the art of parody with his title. He takes us into a universe that evokes animated classics like Heavy Metal and Yellow Submarine. Its cool world meets the Twilight Zone, and fans of absurdist humor are sure to enjoy this tale. It's obviously not going to be a tale for everyone, but for those of us who look for a different type of storytelling occasionally. Fans who don't always want to pick up a comic and get the same old, e.g., conflict, fight, resolution. A useful pattern to be sure, but some writers want to take us beyond that, and Lemire does. At first, it looks like it's going to be another variation of the same pattern, but then it gets all out of whack in a nice way. Great stuff includes Randall's decision to go against his shipmates, and the appearance of Inspector Insector. Rich Tommaso has a unique style, an almost childlike innocence that works with this story. A very simple attitude towards the characters that makes us feel more like we're reading a children's book instead of a comic book. And that's the way it should be. This story is told with a childlike mentality. Highlights include Randall's disappearance into the White Hole and the ever-changing landscape. In conclusion, this is a refreshing change from the normal everyday comic book. It was a breath of fresh air that made me smile. I couldn't fully understand what was going on at first, But then when The Boss was mentioned, I got it, and I got a chuckle out of it. It's almost as if Jeff Lemire were a pen name for Terry Gilliam, who switched from making movies to creating comic books. A lot of fun for escapists, and then guess who shows up? To be continued. 3.5 stars with an 8.3 rating from this comic book reviewer. And that was our look at comic books for this show. Join me next time for another episode of 5-Minute Comic Book Reviews. If you love comics as much as I do, you're going to subscribe to my channel. I review comics for Comic Crusaders. I also have my own franchises, Adolescent Radioactive Samurai Platypi and Carl Vincent Vampire Hunter. They're available on Comics Central, Indie Planet, and Comixology. Check them out. We're going to do our official launch in October 2018. Stay tuned to this broadcast for more information. Also, like the Facebook pages for each franchise for more information. Check out my Patreon site for some neat original artwork and shows that you won't find on YouTube. Until next time, this is Kevin Gibbons saying, keep reading those comics.